Yes, we are live and welcome to the audience. It is my great pleasure to be your host today. I'm Noortje Dannenberg, and today we have a talk show for biology. And for this talk show, we will um, have an interview with two students of the specializations of biology, and we also have a master's coordinator here with us. First, I want to do some practicalities before we go to the introductions. So in the shared screen, you can see a link which will connect you to our basis, so you can ask your own questions also to our students and the coordinator if you want to. So this is nice for the uh, yes, for the communication. Okay, so we have with us two students. We have Gunis Bergman. She is a student molecular genetics and biology of biotechnology. And we have Roel Wouters with us, student of biodiversity and sustainability. Yes, and we also have Maurijn van der Zee. And Maurijn van der Zee is the coordinator of the master's course or master's specialization evolutionary biology. Yes, maybe it's nice to do a quick round of introduction. So I want to give the floor first to Gunis.
Hello. Well, I'm in the end of my second year doing my master's in molecular genetics and biotechnology. I would like to talk about my experiences. And before this, I did my bachelor's in molecular biology and genetics. So maybe some of you can relate to that. So that's how I would introduce myself for now.
Okay, thank you. And Roel?
Hi, my name is Roel. I did my bachelor's also in Leiden University, and I'm doing my master's currently, second year master's, but I will do another year. So I will be doing a 3-year master, but that's a different story. But I am a second year master's of sustainability and biodiversity. I also took some classes in evolutionary biology, and I at this very moment am doing my internship within the Institute of Biology Leiden. My first internship actually for my master. So yeah.
Okay, very nice. And then last but not least, of course, I left Maurijn for the last. Maurijn?
Yes, my name is Maurijn van der Zee, and as Noortje already said, I am the coordinator of one of the 4 research masters that we present at Leiden University. I'm the coordinator of evolutionary biology. Yes, so I hope we can tell you something about all the different master specializations here and the experiences of the teachers and the students.
Yes, very nice. So yeah, that's our aim for this talk show, to get more details. What kind of specializations are there in biology, and also what is the experience of the students. And also there's an opportunity for you guys to ask questions, and then we will try to answer them. So first, I want to go into the different specializations. So as you can see on the screen, there's a screenshot of the website where you can find more details about the program. There's also a very nice general presentation by our education director, who will explain more details. But maybe this is also a good opportunity for Maurijn to explain a bit about what is different between these different specializations within biology.
Yeah, so I think also on the website you're currently in, where you're watching your this live stream, there's also all the presentations of all the programs are provided, and you can have a look at our general presentation. But indeed, we offer 4 different research masters. They are called biodiversity and sustainability. It's the first one, evolutionary biology. We have the one from cells to organisms, and molecular genetics and biotechnology. And those are the 4 research masters. I can maybe later say a little bit more about the combination masters, but let's do that later. I think most of you are interested in the research masters at this stage. Maybe just to short highlight some differences, maybe good to know. Biodiversity sustainability is, of course, hip and happening at the moment, thinking about climate change and things like that. Evolutionary biology is, of course, a kind of related. I would say if you ask me for one difference, I would say that biodiversity and sustainability also deals a lot with kind of the societal aspect of this. You know, how do we use land? Can we use it for nature protection, for recreation, for agriculture? Well, evolutionary biology might be a bit more fundamental, you know, also looking at molecular mechanisms or something like that. We have from cells to organisms. That's very integrative, you know. I mean, a typical study there would be the studies of Christian to the Racke, who looks at zebrafish personalities. He looks at zebrafish and at their immune system, their hormones, and he sees that there are kind of personalities. There are very explorative ones who, if you keep them in a cage and you open it, and they swim out. There are ones that always go first, that are very explorative and active, and there are ones who are a bit more shy and stay behind. And that all hangs together with, well, immune system, hormone levels, things like that. And molecular genetics and biotechnology, well, I think that name is pretty clear. If you think about microbiology or editing plants or microorganisms, to change their properties or to make antibiotics, that is typical direction for molecular genetics and biotechnology.
Okay, thank you, Marijn. So I already saw a first question coming in. There was a question about someone is doing evolutionary biology, but this person is currently studying animal behavior. What would this person need to catch up, and what would be my average grades to get into the master? So I think this is a nice link to what are the requirements to get into a master?
Yeah. Well, in general, the only real rule is that if you did a bachelor in biology at Leiden University, then you will be right away admitted. And officially, all the others have to apply for admission. But you can be pretty sure that if you have a bachelor in biology, you will generally be admitted, at least with a bachelor in biology from a Dutch university, but generally speaking, from most European or Northern America. I mean, generally we accept bachelor students with a bachelor in biology, and we admit them to the program here. There's indeed one little thing. I think also one question already came in. If you have a bachelor from a University of Applied Sciences, in Dutch in hogeschool, then you really should contact our study advisor, and we look specifically at your program and look if there are any things you have to catch up with. But still, in many cases, it is possible to be admitted to the master program.
Yes, should be clear. Directly, there also came a question in on relating to the topic. If you have a background in social sciences, would it be sufficient to do 1 year pre-master?
I don't think there is a specific pre-master for the biology master programs in Leiden. So with these type of specific questions, I would really advise you to look for contact with the study advisor. On the website, also the email addresses are there. She's also available in the chat on the website. But social sciences is, of course, not directly related to biology, and I can imagine that there might be some problems with being admitted to the master program. But there is a special committee that decides in the end about all the admissions. So I cannot make any promises or say no or yes. I can just sketch some general directions.
Yes. Yeah, and I saw more questions coming in, indeed, for requirements or when you have a different background. Please just contact the advisors to see for every individual situation if it's possible to apply. So I think it's a good start. Let's go to our students, because we are really curious about our students, of course. Maybe go to Roel. we are very enthusiastic to know what made you decide to do a master's at biology at Leiden.
So yeah, so I already did my bachelor's at Leiden University, and I took my minors in sustainable development. And I like that topic a lot. I liked the interface between more fundamental ecology and the applicability and the impacts that we as humans in these Anthropocene ages eras have on ecosystems. And I really liked that topic, and therefore I decided to also go for that master's. And then if you look at a broad scale, in the Netherlands, there's basically only 2 universities that have similar program, that is Utrecht and Leiden. And since I live in Leiden, felt very home and happy in Leiden, I had my friends in Leiden, I decided to stay in Leiden. So therefore, I chose for Leiden University. Yeah.
Okay, that's very nice. I have a similar question for Gunis. Like, you do a different master than Roel. Why did you decide to go study in Leiden?
I couldn't hear the end of your question. Can you repeat it? Sorry.
Oh, why did you decide Leiden for your master's?
Okay, so during my bachelor's, I had chance to do a couple of internships in the Netherlands, but they were in different universities. However, I have decided I really like the academic environment in Netherlands overall, and I decided to do my master's in there. And my criteria was to select something that relates to biotechnology, because I really like the application of biology when we implement this theoretical knowledge to solve problems. And considering my interest, Leiden has provided a really nice range of professors with different, research lines to select. Like at the moment, I wasn't sure if I wanted to work with microbiology professors or if I want to work with plants. And I had the feeling if I choose Leiden, I still have a lot of room to decide and have different experiences. So the academic environment together with the variety of research lines helped me to determine basically.
Okay, they're very nice. We have some questions coming in. Could you give some examples of research lines that master students can follow?
Well, nice. Microbiology for one. And well, basically, if you look at the page of Institute of Biology, you are going to see different research lines, and different professors select different research lines in these institute. Let's say we have some antibiotics people. I'm going to speak for microbiology because that's what I know most about at the moment. We have some professors who try to produce industrial enzymes to, let's say, work in white biotechnology. And we have some other people who try to produce antibiotics. And we have some other people who try to understand how bacteria act in different environments and how they adapt to different stuff. So if you go in details, every professor, of course, owns his own research line, and there is a lot of variety, I would say. Like, I cannot count them by heart, but just looking at the website would help with this.
Maybe if
Yes.
I may add from my own line of masters, which is biodiversity sustainability. We collaborate a lot with Naturalis Biodiversity Center and also with the Center for Environmental Sciences, which are both located at the Bioscience Park in Leiden. And basically the sky is the limit. I mean, there are so many different research lines from ecology, marine ecology, name it. I do reptiles, but mostly evolution of reptiles, evolution ecology of reptiles, and there is ecotoxicology, which focus at, for example, pesticides, but also microplastics in our environment. We have more, so even in Center of Environmental Science, some more societal part of the whole debate where you can work on study. But you have a more fundamental part of things at the Institute of Biology Leiden, where you can do embryology, evolutionary biology of both plants and animals, vertebrates and invertebrates. That's where Marijn knows a lot about. So maybe he can add a bit to this as well. But there is it's a very broad spectrum, and also, although the fact that I am biodiversity and sustainability, I now do actually my master's in my master thesis in the before mentioned Christian Tudorakis, which is actually cells to organisms. So I'm currently working on personality and physiology, but with it's all integrated. I mean, everything has to do with each other. So the sky is the limit, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like you can. It's a really dynamic program, and it's the way that you make it yourself, right?
Yeah.
So would this be a charm from Leiden, that you can really make your own program? You can specialize the way that you want to in the interest field that you're interested in.
I think so, yes. I saw also indeed another question in the chat that was very related to this, namely, can you choose subjects from other master specializations? Yes, there's a clear yes here. I mean, if you subscribe for a certain specialization, you often there are a few obligatory courses that you have to take in order to get that specialization on your master degree. But with the remaining credits, you are completely free to choose subjects of your own choice, also from the other master specializations, even from outside the direct biology program. But and indeed, as Roel also already explained, you can be when you choose your internship, that's really the way you can shape your own master program, and you can be admitted to an internship with many if you are doing master specialization from many directions. For instance, I'm an evolutionary biologist. I do a lot of evo-devo, but people who do an internship in my group, they come from molecular genetics and biotechnology because they do some CRISPR-Cas experiment, or they come from evolutionary biology, indeed, of course. So don't worry also too much that you make a kind of a wrong choice, because during the program, there's a lot of flexibility to move around and look around.
Yeah, there's also a question concerning this for someone who is interested in bioinformatics. I think that it's really possible to do additional courses from bioinformatics and integrate it in your own program.
Yeah, and choose a master internship where you can do a lot of bioinformatics and really learn from the research itself. Yeah.
Yes. I know there's a lot of requests for the research groups for more bioinformatics. So
yeah, and I would add to that there's a lot possible also at different universities, also abroad, as long as you have a good idea and discuss it in good collaboration with the study advisors, then there is really much possible.
Yeah. So I want to switch to a different topic. So I had some questions about concerning what kind of students do we get here? What is the percentage of, for example, international students? Maybe also maybe nice to switch to Gunis, for example. How is your experience as an international student to come here to Leiden?
Okay, to describe it very shortly, I basically love it because I think everyone knows by now, everyone can speak English in the Netherlands. So you have no problems to find your way whatsoever. And people are really friendly. And well, besides that, I really like how approachable academic people are as well. Because where I come from, it wasn't the same. And I really enjoy this basic question, and getting answers is really easy, basically, when you have a question. Beside that, well, I don't have a percentage, like I don't know it by heart, but from my group, let's say I started in February and we had lots of international students. And I know there is a lot of events going on to help you to meet with new people and do some activities. It's quite active, and Leiden is a really good city for this. I call it a student city, basically, because there is always something to do. And probably Roel can talk about it a bit better. But I can assure you it's really easy to adapt. And yeah, I enjoyed it, basically. And I know a lot of friends of mine have enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, did you join in? Oh, someone is in there. Yeah. So did you join in special events organized for international students?
I went to Barrels a couple of times, but I also live near Amsterdam. So after some time, when my study was getting a bit heavier, but it's something personal as well. Like not everyone has to follow my steps, but yeah, I did join a couple of them. And we even have this science buddy program where they assign you a student to help you around. So don't worry about adapting and this kind of stuff.
Yeah, sounds very good. Yes, and how is it now during the corona? So both the students, of course, already started their study, and then corona hit it. So how did you guys experience switching from a normal education to the corona settings?
Yeah, shall I start?
Yes.
So actually today, exactly 1 year ago, I came back from Borneo. I was with Naturalis, with the Biodiversity Center, on a field course, tropical field course in Borneo, in Malaysian Borneo. And exactly a year ago, we got a satellite telephone. We were in the middle of the jungle doing field work. We got a satellite telephone that we had to immediately come back to the Netherlands because of a certain virus that we hardly knew, and we were laughing about. And we had to come back. And actually, now exactly a year ago, I landed in the Netherlands again. And from that moment on, we were in a pandemic. And yes, yeah, it was very different. As exactly, especially in the beginning, switching to online teaching and not seeing your peers and not seeing your fellow co-students and also the teachers and professors. That entire atmosphere that was that you're so used to and that I really like. That was so, yeah. So that was tough. It is still tough because as you may well know, we are still in a lockdown. Actually, we are in one of the strictest lockdowns of entire Europe at this moment. So we are still not allowed to go into classes. We can do some practical work, especially internship students can still go to university. So it's good to sometimes be there, but of course it's still very much different. I must say, to be very honest, there is quite a different level in quality teaching of online materials. So there are especially professors who do an amazing job, such as Marijn, for example. He did an amazing course in which online teaching was no problem. But of course, there are also some professors who are maybe a bit older, sorry to say so, but have a little less of the technical understanding of how you can teach courses online, and that it's getting better, but sometimes that was really a pain in the ass. But I think that is for that counts for everyone and not especially for Leiden in that sense. But
I think indeed also it's good to add here that what Roel also said, that indeed although a lot of the lectures are online, that all the practicals are still possible to a large extent. And also, indeed, if you do an internship and you're in work in a laboratory, although there are, of course, nowadays rules about how many people can be in a certain laboratory, it is still possible to be in the laboratory and do your internship. So it is not so that we are in an absolute lockdown that you cannot leave the house. No, of course not. You can still do a big part of your practical work.
Yeah, I can also add to this because I'm pretty thankful actually. When Corona hit, I was in the second year of my study. And the first year I spent with just taking courses. And the second year I started my internship. And wanting to be a researcher, it's really important for me to get this practical knowledge. My first internship was meant to progress a bit slow due to its nature. And when we had to stop practical work, I was really worried that it's going to really linger my studies and I will never get this experience whatsoever. However, they adjusted it really well. And in our lab, we had this time slots, and all the doctorate students, postdocs, they were quite understanding, and we managed to arrange it really well, schedule it really well, so that after 2 months of lockdown, I was able to go back to lab and do my experiments again. And actually, this is one of the reasons why I was able to graduate on time and still have my experience. So I would say for the situation, it is a quite good system.
Yeah. Yes, thank you very much. I think Corona is especially very challenging for us and the teachers and the students. But I think the teachers did a really good job, and I think it also have advantages, right? I mean, we were digital illiterate, but now we all really advance in this digital environment. I mean, look at us. People from China can follow our talk show now, so that's there are advantages.
You try to give it a positive touch. I like that. I'm not so positive.
Yeah, but I think we are very lucky. Our faculty is really lucky that we are able to do these practicals in real life.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
A lot of questions are coming in, Noortje.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so I just highlighted a few that maybe are just quickly to answer. That's about different courses and what is your required background. If you're admitted to the master program, it's of course not a problem to do any of the courses. It may of course be that if you have a course like genetic architecture, that is an obligatory course, you might have a bit more problems if you don't have any molecular genetics background. That means that you have to work a little bit harder, but in principle I think that most, if not all, courses are accessible for everybody, whatever your background exactly is. Somebody asked specifically about courses in the evolutionary biology master specialization. Well, I think one aspect indeed Leiden is interesting, is that we have a pretty strong evolutionary developmental biology people, like we have Michael Richardson, where also Roel has worked on snakes. He does a lot of vertebrate evo-devo. I work a lot with the embryos of invertebrate animals, insects, and we have also plant researchers who do evo-devo, like Barbara Gravendeel, who is connected to Naturalis. So there are really a lot of different courses that you can basically access. Does not matter so much what your background is. And of course, I think there was also a question about internships abroad. I think Roel already clearly mentioned that we encourage actually people, particularly after their first internship, if they did the first internship in Leiden, we really would like you to reach out, go to another university, go abroad and do your internship, your second internship somewhere else.
Yes, and I also think a lot of questions, of course, are coming in, and I think the ambassadors will also answer them later on. So keep an eye on the questionnaire app later. So there's another question concerning the internship. Are students expected to pursue their internship on their own, or are you helped by the university?
Shall I answer this for my experience?
Yeah.
So my experience is that you have your lectures. Everybody starts basically the first few months, basically the first semester of their masters when they start in September with courses. And during those courses, you actually meet a lot of the professors that are also hosting their research lines. And then you get a good idea of what is happening in and around Leiden University and what you can do. And then a normal procedure would be to indeed contact those professors if you think, wow, this is amazing, I want to do this as an internship. Contact those, have a cup of coffee and see if you can come up with a plan. In my case, that always works. So you just contact straight a teacher and you go there and say, hey, amazing research, I saw your lecture, let's have a chat and see if we can come up with something. of course, in the event that you cannot find an internship, especially during these Corona pandemic times, it was quite hard. I heard. I didn't have a big problem with that, but a lot of students had some issues, and I think the education office did their utmost best to help everybody get a place. So of course, in the event that you do not succeed, you can always go to the study advisor, and he or she will always help you try to find something of your likings.
Yeah, very nice answer, Roel. Totally agree, and especially when you're more proactive, of course, that is a very positive signal also for the person where you want to do an internship. So that's very nice.
I saw also some questions about the flexibility of the program and whether you can switch. Maybe it's also good to say something about that. And it's maybe also a good moment. We did not talk yet about the combined master specializations, let's say. So maybe that's a good combination. So yes, in a program, there are a few courses that are obligatory, and I told already that you can quite easily choose courses from another specialization. You can also even, in the end, if you choose those courses that really do not have basically the good thing about these programs is that they have coherence. If you choose the obligatory courses that belong to your program, but there is even a possibility that if you really choose only the courses that you like and really make up your own program, you can also even get a general master in biology if you would like it. What a lot of people do indeed is after their so some people already right from the beginning know that they want to do one of those 3 combinatorial master specializations. I will just quickly mention them. They're biology and education, they're biology and science communication, and biology and business studies. So I think the names are pretty clear. Biology and education is when you want to become a teacher, a first grade teacher at a high school, for instance. Biology and science communication has to do with all the communication of science to the public. Whether you want to be a science journalist or an educator at a museum, you can follow that master specialization. And biology and business studies, that is if you want to go into business and, for instance, start your own company with a very good biotechnologically related idea or something like that. Or if you want to work in the more commercial aspects of biotech companies or pharmaceutical companies or whatever. So the idea of those combinatorial master specializations is that in the first year, you choose one of those research master specializations. So your basis will be that you are going to be you have a good scientific background. And then in the second year, you choose or you go to your specific combinatorial master specialization. And then you learn how to teach this or how to communicate this to the public or more about the technical aspects of starting a company or something like that. So some people do also change. They say, okay, I want to do molecular genetics and biotechnology, but they discover halfway, oh, I really don't like pipetting 1 microliter in Eppendorf tubes the whole day. I want to, I don't know, become a teacher. I want to become an educator at a museum. And so you can still change your choice or enroll in such a combination master after your first year, for instance. Yeah.
So maybe good to stress. So to make it very concrete in that sense, like the first year, everybody does a research master, and you can either do a second year of research master or a second year of one of those 3 tracks. And for example, I do biodiversity sustainability research master for 2 years, but I also took electives in evolutionary biology, and now my internship is more related to from cells to organisms. So yeah, there is a lot possible indeed. Yeah.
So So you stress this out that you can also change afterwards. But what if you do it like Gunis? Gunis started with doing the courses. So you have 1 year of 60 UC courses, but then you want to switch. Is it obligatory to do an internship?
Yes, for the whole to get a master in biology, you need to have a certain number of credits for your internship. All the details are also on the website. So there is only a maximum of 60 EC that you can do on courses. So we really would like you to do practical research work. That's basically what the program is about.
Yes,
Yeah,
very clear.
Already this morning, I received a question in our chat box. Somebody asked if Leiden University, the master biology was more of a teaching master or more of a research practical master. And although you will also have lectures and teaching, I would say for most students, the biggest part of their master research is really practical work internships. So yes.
Yeah.
So another question. So what if you want to do 2 masters? Like, can you combine 2 masters at the same time? How does that work?
Well, I mean, in the end, what you if you followed the obligatory courses for a certain master specialization, you can have that on your master degree, and that will usually be you can choose. If you took all the courses that would entitle you to have an evolutionary biology master or a biodiversity and sustainability master, you can basically, I think, choose what will be on your diploma, or you can choose to have a general master in biology, what you like. I'm sure the examination committee will find a solution for you that that you like to.
And maybe to if people want to do something totally different, like for example a master's in biology and a master's in biopharmaceuticals, that will be a bit different because biology is a full-time master's. So it is a 9 to 5, and it is a lot of contact hours, and it is a lot of work. So if you have plans on combining a biology master's with a non-biology master's, then always contact and do that in collaboration with the study advisor, and they can help you with making a program or a plan to do that. But I think it's not necessarily recommended to do this, but it is possible if you really want this, of course.
Yes.
But it will take longer probably. Yeah.
Thank you, Roel. I have another question for you because you also did your bachelor here in Leiden.
I did.
So if you compare the master and the bachelor, do you think that they are similar in their contact hours, or is it more challenging? How do you experience this?
Okay, yeah. So the bachelor's is, of course, bachelor's biology in Leiden is very comparable to the bachelor's biology in other cities. I mean, you get your basis, you get your basic knowledge, you get your basic courses, and also a lot of practical work, and also a bachelor internship. So in that sense, the bachelors and the masters, of course, have a natural red line in common, which is that they both have a very practical way of teaching and way of researching. But the masters is really more research focused. So where you get more of the theoretical and basic knowledge in your bachelor's, you will go more into detail on the different research that is going on in the field. So you'll get more of the state of the art and recent debates and research lines and breakthroughs, etc. So it's really more focused on research rather than the basic theoretical knowledge which you have obtained in your bachelor's. But of course, it is, if you compare the Leiden bachelor to Leiden master, you will see the same faces. You will see Marijn, for example, also in your bachelor, and you will see the different teachers and different professors overlap. But although they work on the same subjects, it's a different story they have to tell. So yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. So there's also questions about you can start the master at 2 starting points, like in September or in February. So Gunis started it in February. So can you explain to us what is the difference between these starting points?
Well, that's a good question, actually, because I think I have a good experience with this. Well, when you start in February, people who start in September usually have this orientation course right after they start. So they really know who are the professors, what are they going to do, and everything is a bit more regulated. Let's say everything happens more orderly. And when you start in February, you really need to think about this a bit so that you'll have a proper program. For example, what I did when I started, I tried to take courses, but there were a number of elective courses that I really liked, but they weren't enough to fill up my program, let's say. So I would actually suggest people, if they already know what they want to do, I would suggest them to already start with a research internship, maybe. As I think that's a better way to value your time. My first semester was quite easy on me. I only took a number of courses, and after that, I had to catch up a little more on the ECs and stuff. And in the end, I had like 34 ECs from my courses, and I did 90 ECs out of the research. So I spent most of my time doing research in the lab. So do this decision.
Sorry, Goodness, you're falling away.
Yeah. I lost you as well. Yeah.
Okay, good. You're back again.
Okay, good. So I would say really think about it and decide what you want, and check the elective courses, for example. If you're going to start in February, check when they are going to start, because you can already access this information from the website and have a plan with it, I would say. If I had another chance, I would start with doing a research internship right away, then spending my first semester rather relaxed. That I would say. But beside that, it doesn't matter that much, really, especially if you think you have a good basis in your bachelor's. It really doesn't matter that much.
But indeed, I would also encourage people to start in September. Then really the program is much more coherent and better. We basically offer this moment also to start in February for people who have no other option, you know. I mean, sometimes things get postponed or whatever, and it's possible, but you will have more difficulties arranging an internship, getting to know all the teachers and things like that. So
definitely,
if possible, start in September, I would say.
Yeah, and don't forget your fellow peers, co-students that you get to know in September, because you have a semester of courses together, and if you start in February, you are more on your own, so to say. So.
I see also many questions on the number of students. And I think we have around 150 or so master students. The biggest specialization is molecular genetics and biotechnology. The other ones are a bit smaller. There's a fairly good deal of international students every year for some traditional reason. There are often quite some people from Greece also. I don't know why, but everybody is welcome. And indeed,
yeah, so Marijn, is there a numerous fixes?
No, so indeed, if you are, you can. So so as I said already, with the admission, if you have a bachelor in biology from a university, in general, you do not need to worry so much. Yeah. And just apply, and you will probably be admitted. Only indeed if you have a bachelor from a University of Applied Sciences, a hogeschool, then please contact us before. There was also somebody asking about the GPA. No, that doesn't apply if you have a bachelor from a university, but sometimes it applies to people with a bachelor from a University of Applied Sciences. So again, there, yeah.
Okay, another question is it possible to follow courses at a different university, like a university abroad?
Yes, in principle, as long as you did the obligatory courses of your master specialization, there's a lot of flexibility to follow courses, well, at our own university, but also outside the university or even abroad. I'm always, if you have such a plan, in general, it's possible.
Yes.
Yeah, you always have to discuss with the study advisor because they have to see if it fits the program, if it's quality enough.
Yeah. In the end, all these decisions are made by the examination committee, who in the end kind of decides whether you get your master degree. But there's a lot of flexibility and possibilities. Yeah.
Yes, and there was also a question concerning the thesis. So it is not specified in the curriculum that you have to write a thesis. Can you maybe comment on that, Marijn?
Well, I think the students themselves also can comment very well on this, because yeah, what you do at the end of your internship is that you write a kind of a report that can be considered a thesis about your internship. We like to already to give you the practice to write scientific papers. So we encourage you to adopt already a bit the style of a scientific paper. But of course, there are some differences. Like in a scientific paper, you might want to keep the materials and methods really short. But in your master thesis, you're probably going to explain a bit better exactly what you did in the materials and methods. But for the rest, we really try to encourage you to adopt already a scientific paper style and write your thesis in such a way.
Yes, and I think Gunis is currently writing, right, for your last thesis.
Yeah, for example, my first internship was normal. Let's say it was a normal master's thesis. In the end, I wrote. But for my second internship, we had this new interesting topic, and it could become a research project later on, like a research project a couple of researchers can work on. So together with my professors, I have decided to write a draft of a grant proposal, and which were to submit later. And while doing so, I also had a practical experience. I did some experiments to gather preliminary data. And this grant proposal, we actually think of submitting and hopefully get some funding about it. So really just explore your options, because people are supportive. And if you want to do stuff, they're going to just help you. So it was actually my professors who came up with this idea, and it's kind of working. So yeah.
Yeah. Also in my case, I have indeed, as part of my bachelor research back then, but comparable to master research, is that I already have 2 publications from that as well. So it's not only necessarily practical experience with practicing writing publications, but sometimes even really publishing. So
yeah.
Yes, Roel, can you maybe mention where you published your last paper, because I think that's really cool.
Oh, our last paper was shown on the cover of Science magazine.
Look,
last year.
So
Wow.
That's of course very exceptional, but a really cool story, Roel. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats. Cool.
Evolution of spitting cobras. Really cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, I saw one question. No, sorry to interrupt you, but that was already long ago. It's about the internships and the duration of the internships. I think what most students do if they do a research master is that they choose 2 internships, one a bit shorter, about 36 study credits, and the second one a bit longer, of 54 credits. But in the end, it's not obligatory to do it like this, but this is what most students do.
Yeah. So really, so mostly 6 months and so somewhere around 9 months or so, 8 to 9 months. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there are so many questions in the. I also saw one. Is the focus of the master's more fundamental, or is it also applied, like clinical aspects?
I think it's about how you arrange it, actually, because I was on more of the application side, so I chose my internship projects according to that, like the topics that have a place in the industry, let's say. But I also know some people who went to medical center to do their internship, so they kind of went to a different direction. And yeah, it's up to the student, I would say.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have a good friend who's now doing also from Leiden University, Biotechnology, who's now doing an internship at a company in Rotterdam that produced biodegradable plastics from beer waste. So that's very applied, I would say. But for example, my research is way more fundamental. So it is up to your own liking, I think.
Yes. So I want to go to another subject. What comes after the master? So I want to talk about the job market. Do you guys know what you want to do after your masters? Gunis.
Okay, so waiting on my diploma at the moment. I already did some job applications and I'm waiting on them. So, well, I already knew that I wanted to stay in academia, so that's what I'm doing. And yeah, I think most of my friends were going in this direction, but I also know some people from like who did business studies or science communication were looking into positions in, let's say, science journals or other places. So it's again up to you, but to my experience, most of the people I know went into research direction.
Yeah, and so I'm also I would really like to do a PhD after my master's. So that is also, of course, within academia research. But I would say I just before we started this presentation, I was just looking into the job areas that from our Dutch Biology Institute. They found out they did a little survey and they found out what happens with master students after they graduate in the Netherlands. And I would say that about 50%, 40 to 50% is either within university or within research institute. So that's basically research. And then about 1/3, they actually go into companies like biopharmaceutical companies or biotech companies or whatever. And then I saw that about 5% of the people, they go into NGOs, this kind of firms like well, very famous examples are of course WWF, Greenpeace, whatever. But you also have on a smaller scale, and then you also have governmental positions like consultancy. Ecological consultancy is a famous example. And also quite a few students from Leiden, they go into education as a high school teacher, because we offer that direction, of course, also as a track. So that's basically the, but at least or at least 40%, 40 to 50% ends up within research and academia. Yeah.
Indeed, Roel, I think the government is in many countries a big employer of biologists also. Indeed, like if you think about permissions for, I don't know, genetic modification or pollution or environment, that's people do have to know something about this. And biologists in general are very broad because biologists are good at thinking about different levels. So even I think the director of IBM, the computer producer, is a biologist. So you can really end up in very very special positions.
Yeah, I indeed also know somebody at the Dutch railway company that is in a very high position. That's also a biologist, trained biologist. So, yeah.
Yeah, sounds very good. I also have a lot of friends who started their PhDs, and my previous student, who was also in this interview in November for the Masterday, he started a job in Janssen. So it's very diverse, but yes, we do get jobs.
Narja herself is a PhD student now who is graduated from Leiden as well, so that tells too.
Some background, yes. So there is a question concerning this current interview. Is it recorded and can people find it back?
I think so. It will be placed, I think, later on, at least on our website. But it is recorded. Yes, and you will at least at a certain point find it back on our biology website. If you Google Master Leiden Biology, you come at our website, and there is still, I think, the talk show of the previous Master Open Day, but I think it will be soon replaced by this one.
And maybe also good to stress that there are various students and also a study advisor. When you go to the platform that you are registered on, there is a option to chat with the student. You can either chat with me afterwards or with Göran or with our study advisor. And we also just found out we have a very nice environment like this where you can actually have a live chat with us. So afterwards we will be there for maybe an hour or an hour and a half, so you can ask the questions that we did not answer during this live talk show.
Yeah, thank you for all your questions. So many came in that we probably did not treat them all, but I hope it's a kind of helps you. Yeah.
I hope people get a broad idea of what they can expect when they come here.
Yes, very nice for you guys for answering all these questions. Roel, just a practicality. I said before you will answer all these questions in this app, right? How does that work?
Yeah, so I think the master students, the students that have registered, they can find that on that platform there is various buttons, and one of these buttons is chat with the student, expert chat, and then you will be able to chat with me. I already saw some students who talked with me this morning, so it's possible. And there should also be a button that brings you to our live room where you can have a face-to-face with me or Göran or whoever is there for you to answer some of the more maybe individual questions that you want to ask, or some questions that we did not discuss, or experiences you want from me or one of the other students who are available. So, yep.
Okay, thank you, Roel. Yes, I want to thank our students for answering these questions and sharing their experience with us, and of course, Maurijn for giving all this specialization details. Yeah, if there are no other questions anymore, I want to thank you all and thank the audience for sending in their questions. Yes.
Great. Thanks a lot for being here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, and good luck with your choices.
Yeah, good luck.